So what we're doing here is we are creating a process for onboarding volunteers. So what I did in this situation was create an opportunities process. But for our purposes, we'd be doing a leads process. But it works very similar. So we could still use this for demonstration purposes.
Okay.
So it's very there's a lot of different things that go into it to make it come to life. One of the features that I thought would be neat, especially for like a user interface, kind of just visualizing the process, would be to create this path. This way we can kind of like see where the volunteers are or where each lead is in the onboarding process. So these would be like the different stages that we have. To create this, we would be creating custom record types. So what that looks like is here, actually, it'd be over here. So for what I did was I created a custom record type for the opportunity object, but again, for the Camellia for Familias, what I wanted to do was create a leads custom record type, but again, it would work very similarly. So the custom record type that I did make was on the opportunity object, and the custom record type that I made is the volunteer record type. So here I labeled it volunteer onboarding, but once I would implement it into our production org, it would just be volunteer record type. And once I have that record type created, what I would do is go to processes. So you could find that here if you just type in process. And for opportunity processes, they are actually sales processes. But again, for us, we would be making a lead process. But for demonstration purposes, I have that set up here. And so what I did was we created a new one, and the one that I created was, you can see right here, is the volunteer process. So yeah, then this path right here that I created is kind of where I customize it. So these are all like the default like available like pipeline stages. These are most of these are default except for the two custom ones that I made were, or actually it was three. I made the interview, orientation, and agreement form stages because that's what that was my understanding of how the volunteers were brought on, or the different stages. So yeah, you can customize this to however you'd like. This is pretty standard. Prospect is when you make the initial lead, and then what I understood was that first you do an interview, then the orientation, then they fill out the agreement form, and then after that it'd be a closed one, or if the volunteer decided not to commit, it'd be like a closed loss. But yeah, that's just kind of like a standard path or process that I created. And then to create the custom interview, orientation, and agreement form stages, what I did was I went to Object Manager. I went over to the opportunity object and fields and relationships. And then we head down to stage. And this is where we create the actual pick list value. So what I mean by that is the interview, orientation, and agreement form. Those aren't standard pick list values that come with SalesForce. So or compared to prospecting or closed, those are standard and are coming already as default values. But if you wanted to create a custom value, like say a phone interview, for if you wanted to create anything else or include something else, I would just come down here, create a new pick list value, and then label it, name it, and then here we can kind of customize like a probability. Say if they're in a phone interview, it's a 20% chance that they close. Or if it's a agreement form, then we'd say that's probably a 80% chance that we close that opportunity. And then for type, most of them are open. So like as far as prospecting, interview, orientation, agreement form, it's an open opportunity or open lead in our case. But if we have something else that we want to label a closed one, such as joined, say if we wanted to make a stage called joined or recruited, we could do that as closed one, just kind of like the same idea. It's either opened, closed one, or closed lost. For our sales process, if you want to add it to that, we just click this checkbox right here and it'll implement it into the process. And that's kind of the gist of what I had in mind. One thing that I did want to create here that I don't have in this developer org to demonstrate, but an idea I had was creating a trigger or like a automated process where once we reach this agreement form, say if we mark this as our current stage, I want to create a trigger or workflow that will email or send an email to the contact with the registration form that you provided me with.
Right.
And what I thought or what I pictured that looking like was having email templates set up, and then that workflow would just use that email template and fill in contact like information and the sender's information. So I do actually have that to demonstrate.
Okay.
We will go here. I believe it is classic email templates. So this is kind of what I had so far. So to create this, I actually went over to email letterheads, which I will show you in 1 second. But this is just kind of an idea or a draft of like what I imagine outbound messages looking like. Where say once we get to the agreement form, this email or this something similar to this is what would be sent to the contact or prospect. So it'd be kind of like, hi, welcome. We're excited that you will be joining. And then they can click this hyperlink to the form. And then whoever is sending this, whoever is actually the opportunity owner or the lead owner, their information would get filled here. So first name, last name, email, phone, and it'd be like, hi, say John Doe, that it would just fill for them. To create this letterhead or email template, we go over to classic email letterheads, and this kind of example or a description by SalesForce. And this is actually the one that I created. I did the orange colors that I got from the Comida for Familias logo. So I would actually like for you to provide me with the logo so that I can include this on the header and then maybe somewhere on the footer, or we just kind of see what we like. To create one of those, we just go over here. So say new letterhead name, just label this draft. So this is where we would be select logo. I don't have any on this developer org, but say if there was a logo here, I'd be able to insert it and it'd pop up right here. And then we kind of mess with the colors, customize it, make it something that we like. And then once we have that set up, we would go to email templates, and that is where we actually customize the actual content, like the letter or the body or the text. So yeah, that's kind of what I had in mind. I just thought it'd be a lot smoother to kind of streamline that onboarding volunteer process.